just making breakfast and looking over my to-do list for the day, which currently is a physical pile of things on the dining room table, one of which is this, the latest addition to my Deltora Quest collection. I got this for $10 on Facebook Marketplace. I think that's a fair price. It's not like many people in the world are collecting these, but this is the hardest part of the collection to collect. Even though it's actually the one part of the collection where collector is kind of in the name, because it is the collector cards. So we're gonna open this together and then talk a little bit about what else I have in the collection, why it's so hard to find these. I really don't have many at all. And I wanted to show you something I found on eBay that I couldn't afford, but is quite rare and therefore of interest. That's what we're doing once I finish my eggs, which are probably burning by now. Now they are just right. Eggs, avocado, raisin, what's the word I want? Raisin muffins. All right, I've come out here to my studio where it's a little bit quieter. And in fact, I do have some copies of, where are they? Deltora Quest that live here in my little studio. Those are not first editions, which means that when I want to actually read Deltora Quest or flip through and find something, I use those. So they live out here next to, actually, thematically, a collector card folder. Maybe we'll flip through that at the end and see what kind of cards I was collecting as a kid. I'm sorry if my voice is a little bit today. I was recording vocals for my album yesterday. Did you really think I'd always be around it? That's over on my main channel. If you're interested, this is the Deltora Quest channel, so let's get on with it. There we go. Shadowgate. There's a word for these type of cards. It's not 3D, it's lenticular or something. I might have to look that up afterwards and put the word on screen. But it's one of those cards. See how the face moves? It's almost like a little Bollywood dance. So like I say, this part of the collection is very small. So in the same series, I have the lenticular, or whatever the word is, card from the third series. This is the first book in the series. So now we have the second book in this series as well. If I show you the back, you can see that these are from Scholastic and they have little explanations of what we're looking at. And from the same Scholastic Australian series, oh, hang on, there's two in here. Hey, I don't even know what's in my collection. There we go. Ta-da! So I've got the book 1 and book 3 from series 1. Hang on. Nope, sorry, book 3 from series 3. The backs are completely identical. Obviously these came out at the same time when the third series came out. I don't know much about these. I've just had to kind of figure it out the best I can as I go along. Now from across the pond we have a couple of American cards. These are much thinner cards, a bit more flimsy than the Australian ones. These are from the World of Deltora collection, which was Scholastic in America. They did a lot more, I don't want to call this merchandise, but extra collectibles. They had a few posters and the thing I'm going to show you on eBay. This one has a made in China stamp on it. This one does not. This one looks like the cover of the book to me. This one doesn't. So I'm not sure what the story there is, but we have Soldine from the Lake of Tears, which of course is the second book in the first series. And from the third book, we have Rhea. This is half the fun of collecting something that no one else really collects. It gets to be my job to put the pieces together, do some investigative work, and figure out what everything is. And in the last year, when I started this page, I joined the Deltora Quest Reddit page because I wanted to share these videos with people that would actually care about these videos, and I found some like-minded individuals there who are doing similar detective work. So that's been kind of fun. But the last thing, these are from the Japanese market. Now, I grew up in Japan. That's actually where I first came across these books. And here's a couple of bookmarks, again from the third series. I guess by then it was a big enough deal, these books, that they had a bit of extra money for cards and bookmarks and the like. I think these may have been my brother's, and at some point I nicked them off him and added them to my collection. Sorry, Toby, but it's nice to keep everything together. So it's kind of interesting to follow the trail of how these books were advertised in different countries. Australia went pretty basic. America went for quantity. They have the biggest collection of cards, even though I only have 2. There's a whole world out there. And Japan went for the most beautiful and also the most functional. In Japan, everything is stationary. No one has time for fun or hobbies. You have to take your fun to work with you. So all of your personality is expressed in what stationery you own. There you go. That's my 1-sentence summary of culture in Japan. But I found something interesting on eBay the other day. We're going to have a look at it. It kind of maybe starts to give us a bit of a clue into why some of this stuff is harder to find. So if that's of interest to you, stick around. Before we get there, the Deltora books are full of riddles, and I think it's only fair that this series of videos is full of riddles too, so I'm going to pick a random one today. I haven't thought ahead. What did the Sister of the East look like? Pop your answer down below, and now we're going to move over to my computer and have a look at eBay. Alright, you're about to learn a lot about me as we look through my watch list on eBay. Here is a brochure for a prefab home my grandmother's great uncle designed. I thought it'd be interesting to own one of those. I haven't bought one yet. Mostly Deltora Quest stuff in here. Soccer jersey, Deltora Quest, French Deltora Quest. I'm starting to look into non-English language versions of this series, and here is what I'm looking for. Someone actually bought it, which kind of surprised me because I thought it was a lot of money, but I'm glad it's found a new home. This is a subscription box from Scholastic. This is not something I had ever heard of before. I don't know if in each box you got an entry-level package for a different series that Scholastic had, or if it was a Deltora Quest subscription box and you got something Deltora Quest every time. I can only assume that this is somehow related to the Scholastic catalogs. Do you remember those? I remember being at school in Sydney as an 8-year-old and getting the Scholastic catalogs, and you could flick through and order what you wanted through your school. So that's my best guess at what this is. It's always fun to find something I've never heard of before. And speaking of things I'd never heard of before, there are stickers, and there's like a special password for the website. I'm gonna have to reach out to my friend from Reddit who's been doing the Wayback Machine work, see if he can find that website, and if that password gets us anywhere interesting. I'll let you know in a subsequent video if that comes to fruition. But the most interesting thing, and why I would have wanted to pick this up, except I couldn't justify the price at the moment, I just don't have a lot of money, is this. It's a little build your own Gaul, who is the name of this soldier in the golden suit of armor. And they've cut up Mark McBride's artwork from the first book. And here we can see the system of what goes where. You could almost screenshot this and try and make your own. You can see everything in here is from the first and second books in the series. The physical books are there, but everything on these cards are also from the first and second books, which is why I think that probably this subscription box system was like the first couple of books in a series trying to get you into the series, and then the next box would be the first couple of books from a different series trying to get you into that series. I don't think there are going to be more of these for other Deltora Quest books. That's just my suspicion. I could be wrong. But like I said, I just couldn't justify the price and picking this up. I'm almost glad I didn't pick this up. I like collecting books because you can read them. I like collecting soccer jerseys because you can wear them. I like collections where things can still be used for their original purpose. It maybe would have broken my heart a little bit. I wouldn't have punched out the pieces and built it, given that I've kept my puzzles and board game in their original shrink wrap. I would have done the same with this for the sake of my collection, but I hope whoever did pick this up has actually built it and gotten some fun out of it, because that's what this was intended for. So I feel okay about not having this in my collection. It would have been nice, but it is what it is. I realised I completely forgot about a few other cards in the collection because they don't live with the cards, they live in books. The Star of Deltora was a spin-off series, and in the pouches are some cards. We have a gold chain, we have some coins, we have some wool blankets, and of course it was random what you got, and they are in all the books in that series. I've left them in their pouch rather than go down the rabbit hole of trying to collect all of these. You've got to draw the line somewhere. And the way I know that the books in that Scholastic subscription box are not first edition is because the American first editions are very shiny and look like this, and inside are cards. They're punch out, and so I've left them in there. Fairly thick card. They are the book covers, but with shiny gloss. It looks like in each one you get the book that it is, and maybe the next book in the series. Yeah, Shifting Sands has the Shifting Sands cover, and the Dread Mountain cover, which is the next book in the series. So again, when they're creating these cards, the team at Scholastic have their promotion brains on. So we've learned something interesting, I think, by looking at the thing I found on eBay that I couldn't afford, and also what's in here and in my collection. We're trying to answer the question, why is it so difficult to collect these things? I think it's because the books were made to be read. The cards were made to promote books. They only make so many. Once these are sold, they make more. But the cards, once they're gone, they're gone. They're easily lost, they're easily torn. And so there just aren't as many on the secondhand market. And that's okay. It kind of makes it more interesting when you do find some.
And then I picked up a book and a card almost fell out. And I couldn't believe it. You don't see cards very often ever. It's just not the kind of thing that survives. You know, if you bought a card at a Scholastic book fair when you were 12, you probably don't have it in really good condition 10, 15 years later. You see a card, you buy a card.
But that's it from me today. Thank you for joining me for my detective work. This is why collecting books is fun. You learn things by doing a little bit of digging and a little bit of thinking. So if this is something that you find fun as well, consider subscribing and sticking around. I try to make vlogs as I build my collection, like this video today, but also I want to do more deep dives. I'd love to look at the first editions. I recently finished that part of my collection. So this is my little Deltora Quest corner of the internet. If you remember these books from your childhood, let me know down in the comments below. I love hearing your stories. I'll see you next time.
Now this probably is quite self-indulgent, but perhaps it would be fun to flick very quickly through the collector card album that I have here in my studio, just to kind of show the kind of things that I started out collecting as a kid, because I used to collect many things. It's just a habit in our family to have a collection of collections. And at some point I decided Deltora Quest was actually what I wanted to put my time and energy into, and I got rid of a whole bunch of other things. But this is where it started as a kid. Here we go. Let me know in the comments if any of this is stuff that you remember. Harry Potter chocolate frog cards. Many of those. Oh, here we go, Lord of the Rings. Japanese Lord of the Rings cards. Possibly from chip packets or something. Star Wars, Japanese Star Wars cards. Sometimes I wonder if these are worth anything. I don't know. This was some kind of card game. I don't know anything about how it works. I just collected the cards. We used to cycle down to a hobby shop in the city next to us and buy these. More Japanese Star Wars cards. Oh, here we go. Star Wars cards, again from Japan. I think these were from ice creams. They love their merchandise in Japan. Let's see, stickers from Australian Kellogg's. More Star Wars cards from Japan. More Australian Star Wars cards. Oh, Disney's dinosaur. Japanese McDonald's. I think I have the whole set of those. Here we go, some World Cup 2002. This was in Japan. Japan co-hosted this with Korea, so there was oodles of merch lying around. Other soccer cards that I would have traded with my friends at school. Here we go. These are definitely from chip packets. There's always lots of cards in Japanese chip packets. Japanese international team. More samurai blue. More generic soccer cards that I would have traded with my friends, even though I have no idea about any of these teams or people. And some baseball cards at the end.